type of tour. I don't want to see that again. For that reason, we don't serve down until after the viewing. After the viewing, feel free to go downstairs and grab yourselves a rum swivel. Now, conveniently located right next to the bar, we have a head. You know what a head is?
Bathroom.
It's a toilet, right? We don't call them toilets on boats because they work nothing like toilets. That's why we call them heads, right? If you've used a head on a boat before, you see a lot of them are pretty temperamental. You know, there's foot pedals and pump handles and levers and knobs and an 18-page manual that you have to read before you use it. Our boat's pretty sophisticated. It's a push button. Yeah, there's a button on the wall next to the toilet paper. Just push and hold it for 10 seconds and all your problems should go away. If they don't and you break it, what's going to happen? The door will lock behind you. There'll be a toolkit and a manual that drops from the ceiling, and the door will not reopen until the boat is completely closed. Have I got that? Alright. So that's downstairs all the way forward. We also have safety equipment on board as well. We have life vests downstairs. There's 2 of them. One says Paul, one says Michelle. And you just make sure we get those. I can't swim. And there's 90 of them, alright? So yeah, if anything should happen, we'll just tie them all together and build a small raft. Yeah, we'll make it back safely. We also have oxygen and first aid just in case anybody does anything silly. We're not going to be using any of that, right? Right. There you go. So anyway, that's basically it about the boat. Anybody have any questions to get us started? Paul. Working on that, yeah. Any other questions?
Where are you from?
I'm from Bermuda.
Where are you?
Born and raised. Yeah. Family's been there for over 200 years.
That's good.
Pirates. Still have a pirate. Just found a new way to rob you. There you go. But anyway, you guys got up into the dockyard yesterday? Today? This morning? Yeah. Did you tell you anything about that? Just started to shop? Yeah. Alright. I'll tell you a little bit about it because it is pretty cool, right? There's quite a bit of history out there. You got the Maritime Museum. A lot of maritime history. Being an island surrounded by water, you tend to get a lot of that, right? Also, the dolphins are out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can go swim with the dolphins. It's cool. You pay like $1 million to swim with a hairless dog. It is. It's like $200 to pat a dolphin. It's crazy. What you do is you do it our way. It's a lot better. You pay the $10 to get into the Maritime Museum, and then you accidentally fall into the dolphin pool. You're a tourist. We love you here. We won't lock you up, I promise. Right. And like I mentioned, the dockyard does have a lot of history because when she was operational, she was the largest and the most powerful naval base in the world outside of Britain itself. They called it the Gibraltar of the West. Anybody have any ideas why we put the second largest naval base in the world here in peaceful little Bermuda?
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a hint. They started drawing up plans for it around 1780. We were the pirates. We were been through this. 1776. Ringing the bells. Not every country. Yeah. That whole land skirmish thing, Britain versus America. Yeah. You guys kicked the British out, right? What are we?
Leftovers.
Payback. Everybody get off. There's bound to be a little bit of animosity when one loses half a continent, right? So what they did was they put the dockyard there. It wasn't to launch an attack on you guys. It was just to keep an eye on you, just in case you messed up. We were going to slip in and take it back. Yeah. Don't be fooled into the fact we turned it into a shopping center. We're still watching. No, but what a lot of people don't realize, and for some reason they don't teach it in American history, but Bermuda did play a huge part in that war. Anybody heard of the gunpowder plot? Because they don't teach it in American history. How it works is, the last winter of that war, George Washington had the British surrounded, and you guys were going to win the war. The problem was that you'd run out of gunpowder. Not very effective when you're trying to fight a war, right? Now, how we got involved was Britain had put an embargo on us, so we weren't allowed to trade with the Americans because we were at war. The problem with this, that's where all of our food came from. You guys, right? So we were starving. Being starving people, it didn't really take much to entice us to switch to the other side. That's what happened. George Washington had old British admirals that had defected from the British Navy and gone over to work with him, and he found out about a very poorly guarded gunpowder storage cavern that we had here down in St. George's. So what he did was he wrote a letter addressed to the people of Bermuda, and in that letter he said that if we got him the gunpowder, then he would open up trade with us for food, even though we're technically at war, right? We're starving. We agreed to that, went down to St. George's, broke into the army garrison, killed the guards, stole over 100 barrels of gunpowder from the British, took it out to George Washington's ships that were waiting offshore. You guys went back, you won the war, gave us the food, and we survived. Now you come back to visit. Worked out well for both of us, right? Now, the only problem that we ran into was with the British-American War of 1812. Somebody get that one? Yeah, the British didn't trust us. Funny that, right? What they did was they seized all of our ships, so we couldn't run back and tell you what they were doing. And what they did was they launched an attack in the middle of the night out of the dockyard, sailed up the Potomac River into Washington, and when they got there, they sacked the city and they burned the presidential mansion. Yeah, they burned it so bad they had to whitewash it to cover the scorch marks, and now you have it. The White House, exactly. That attack on Washington in 1815 was launched from the dockyard. Yeah, so a little bit of history there for you, right? But that's the dockyard. Now, if you look at a map, you see it's not called dockyard, right? It's called Ireland Island. The reason for that, it was hand-built by Irish convict labor. So many Irishmen died building the dockyard. Over 3,000 of them died while building it. But if you look on the map now, they've called it Ireland Island. Right? Ireland Island's connected to Bowes Island, connected by that little bridge right there. You guys see the bridge? That's Gray's Bridge. Anybody drink tea? Earl Grey? Yeah, that's his bridge. Yeah. Back in the 1800s, we had a bunch of investors putting money into the island, and that's what he got. No tiny bridge. Right? But anyway, like I said, this is Bowes Island. Now, Bowes Island's quite nice, right? Waterfront, palm trees, not so shabby. Anybody know what that is? Not the prison, that's close. You call it the project?
Really?
That's the ghetto. Yeah. No. Why? It's a little hard trying to be a gangster when you live in a pink house. That's it. That's low-income housing in Bermuda.
That's it. Hey, that's
it used to be called low-cost housing, then they put a $480,000 price tag on it, so they had to change the name to low-income. Yeah. But $480,000 for Bermuda, that's not so bad. Right? You seen the average cost of a house? That's about $1 million.
What?
Yeah. It's the highest real estate in the world. Right now, average house is $1 million. 2 years ago, it was 1.6. Last year, it was 1.2. Now it's $1 million, so it's going down. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, right? So anyway, what happens, right? With this place, $480,000, because the average house is $1 million, you think $480,000 they'd sell pretty quickly, right? But they didn't. And the reason they didn't is because the government didn't factor in the whole island mentality thing, right? We're island people here, so that means that we're pretty lazy. You know, people will tell you that we're laid back. I'll be straight up and tell you, we're pretty lazy. Yeah. Anything more than a 10-minute drive here is considered a commute. These guys here, they're half an hour traffic free, 45 minutes in traffic from Hamilton where most people work, so nobody wanted to pay $480,000 to live in the ghetto and then travel 45 minutes to work every day. So they dropped the price down to $380,000. Low income.
Wow.
Yeah. Welcome to Bermuda. Everything's expensive. You guys notice that? Yeah, it's a little pricey. I always get the question, how come everything's so expensive? You know? Yeah, we're an isolated island in the middle of the ocean, right? We don't make anything. We do. We make two things. We make rum and people. Usually in that order, too. There's a couple people. But because we don't make anything, everything has to be imported, right? So there's import duty on everything coming into the island. Cars and boats are the worst. Right now, for a boat, it's 33 to 30% duty. Cars are over 100% for a car. You guys know the Kias? The Kias, right? Like the Sportage, what's that in the States? Like 15, 16,000? The time that car gets to Bermuda, licensed and insured, you're knocking on 50,000 for a Kia. Yeah. But I mean, have you seen the Sportage in it? That's like a Hummer here. The size of our roads. You want to take a bus tour? They're like the hedge trimmer. Yeah. Make sure you keep the windows shut. Right? So yeah, that's it. But right now, we're coming up to the Watford Bridge. This bridge right here, this is the biggest bridge in Bermuda. Give you a second to take it all in. Don't rush it. I had some strange comments on this bridge. That lady asked me the cruise ship goes under here. Seriously. She came in on the ship too, that's the funny thing. I won't mention what Garden State she was from. Then I had a guy comment, he said, you know what, man, you can't commit suicide over that bridge. You're in the wrong frame of mind for this trip, buddy. We have to climb to the seat like we jump over there for fun. Right? But anyway, that brings us into the Mangrove Bay. Definitely one of the prettier parts of the island, right? Now this area here, it's called Mangrove Bay because it used to be full of mangroves. And what you'll find here, our naming schemes are really simple. Yeah, we call it as we see it. Because we drink a lot. Yeah. You gotta look at everything through the eyes of a hangover to really understand how we think here. You see the three main roads on the island? One that runs down the North Shore? What do we call it? North Shore Road, yeah. The one on the South Shore? South Shore Road. How about the one in the middle? Middle Road, yeah, you got it. Right, the bird with the long tail? It's a long tail, yeah. We like to keep things nice and easy, right? Yeah. Now, all these islands out in front of us here, this is called Kings Point. These islands are all owned by one guy. His name's Teddy Tucker. Yeah. Anybody heard of Teddy? Huh? Yeah, somebody? He's a world-renowned diver, right? He's responsible for finding 95% of Bermuda shipwrecks. And we have over 200, so he's done a pretty good job. Anybody heard of Mel Fisher? Found a wreck in Yatosha on Key West. Up to when Mel Fisher found the wreck in Yatosha, Teddy Tucker had the highest treasure find in the world. And he still holds the record for the single most expensive piece of jewelry ever found by a treasure hunter. That was the Emerald Cross. You see it around, it's in a lot of the brochures, down the aquarium and the BUEI. What happens with the cross, originally it was supposed to be part of the crown jewels, and then it was stolen from the British by the Spanish. Then the Spanish ship that was carrying the cross, the San Pedro, wrecked here in Bermuda in 1711, and Teddy Tucker found the cross in 1955. So pretty good at what he did, right? The whole thing about Bermuda, though, is you don't have any salvage rights. By law, you have to sell what you find to the government, but the government doesn't have to pay you for it. Yeah, so they took the cross from Teddy, they put it on display down at the aquarium for everybody to look at, and the Queen wanted to come and check it out, right? So we pulled it out to polish it up for her, and as we pulled it out, we found it was a lot lighter than when we had put it in there. Somebody swapped it, yeah, for a replica. Come to find out, Teddy Tucker's an excellent model builder. We're hoping it's sitting up in his house in a nice little glass case, right? But if not, nobody knows what happened to the cross. Now, what we're doing now is we're going to head around the backside of these islands and head out to the northwest corner of Bermuda, right? And that's where we're going to do our Glass Bottom. But I think we're far enough away from the dock now for me to ask you guys what you're doing here.
Learning how to tread water, I guess.
You really didn't think about this tour too hard before you signed up for it, did you? All right, well, let's just recap and think about what you just paid me money to do, right? Yeah. Now, you guys all know that Bermuda is the shipwreck capital of the Atlantic Ocean? You knew that? Yeah. Why'd you come out on a boat? At night. Right? Yeah. And it's not just any regular boat, right? The bottom of our boat is made entirely of glass. And we're going to drive around the shipwreck capital of the Atlantic Ocean. At night. Now, the object of a glass bottom boat is to get as close to the reef as possible without becoming a shipwreck. And we're going to see a shipwreck. Did they tell you that? No. That's because they didn't know about it. My tour from yesterday. The cool thing about a glass bottom boat when it goes down is that you can still see the people trapped inside. These sick people have it. We are going to see a shipwreck.